All right, so we got two major housing reports that just came out this week. Now, first, I want to start with the U.S. Census Bureau reporting that housing starts fell 15.4% in May to an annualized rate of 1.177 million units. That's the lowest level in about 6 years. Single-family housing starts fell to an 8-month low. Now, if you don't know, housing starts is just simply an economic indicator that tells you the number of privately owned new houses on which construction is just getting started. All right, so that's a key one there for builders for new construction. Now, the second one is the National Association of Home Builders. Well, they reported that builder confidence dropped once again, now to the number 35. As you know, 50 is pretty much middle ground. Any number above 50 means they're confident. Any number below means they're not confident. They're not confident in the outlook of building homes. They're not confident in the situation they're in to build new homes. Now, this 35 number came here in June, and it's the 14th consecutive month below 40, a level not seen since basically the aftermath of the 2008-2009 foreclosure crisis. All right, the big housing crisis. That's the kind of numbers we're seeing out of the National Association of Home Builders. Very almost despair at this point with respect to builder confidence. And, you know, it's interesting because there's some numbers here that I think in the data that really caught my attention. One of them is this: 35% of home builders are cutting prices. Okay, and 62% of home builders are offering incentives. Now, their price cuts are typically around 6%. So the point is this: if builders are discounting homes and they're offering incentives just to let go of what they've built, so why are they building less? I want to understand this, because many people hear this data and they think, well, nobody wants new construction. I don't think that's it. I think people want new construction. Who wouldn't want new construction? Builders wouldn't be cutting prices to attract buyers, right? The issue isn't whether they want it, it's if they can afford it, right? All right, so builders are saying, they're saying in the Builder Confidence Survey that higher mortgage rates, higher construction costs, and affordability challenges are causing weaker buyer demand at current prices. All right, that's according to Reuters. Now, buyers like the homes. They just don't like the monthly payment. Okay, now I have a theory that I think existing homes are becoming more attractive than new construction, but not because of desire, not because of want. Okay, I think that many buyers are figuring out something that investors have known forever, which is if you buy an older home and you renovate it, it's a lot cheaper than buying brand new construction. And, you know, a buyer may find an old home. Depending upon where you are, it could be very old. You know, some early 1900s even, right? Even older than that. Or even in the 1950s, 1980s, 1990s, when a lot of housing booms of new construction took place, you find a good house that's built a while ago. It's in a good neighborhood, and it just needs some updates. Well, what happens is buyers are finding out that they can buy that property for a lot less than a comparable new construction home. So what they do is they buy it and they do some work. They paint, flooring, kitchen updates, bathrooms, whatever they got to do, and they still end up below the cost of a new home, and they get to customize it exactly what they want. Now, if they can afford the time and they have the resources to do this, obviously that's important, right? Now, my point is this, that this is just the math driving the behavior, not the desire. And that's the point I'm trying to make, because it makes no sense, right? Why are builders lacking so much confidence? Okay, so I want you to think, you know, a new construction home in a neighborhood that costs $700,000, right? A home in that same neighborhood would cost substantially less if it just needs some work, as little as $500,000. And buyers also, you know, are realizing, well, I can afford that monthly payment. I'm getting approved for a loan for $500,000. So I can actually move into this neighborhood. I just got to work on this house. And I'm seeing a lot more people think like this. A lot more buyers that are, especially in very expensive locations, think Sun Belt, South, West Coast, but definitely still parts of the Northeast. Okay. Now, the other issue is this. According to Reuters, economists in today's housing starts report noted that inventories of unsold new homes remain high because demand has softened. So, this is becoming like economists are chiming in on this now too. All right. Now, not saying that, I'm not saying that people don't want new construction. Hear me out. But what I am saying is buyers are getting more payment sensitive. And that's why you're seeing these incentives from builders. That's why you're seeing price cuts. And that's why you're seeing less construction, even in a time when supposedly we are facing a crisis like no other, where we have a shortage of 4 million homes in the United States, and yet builders don't feel confident. So when you hear shortage, you'd think, well, why aren't they super confident? Shouldn't they be building because the demand is so insatiable and we're short 4 million homes and there's so much supply to go through? Or I'm sorry, there's not enough supply to go through, so we need more? That's not the case. That's not the case. So the big takeaway from these reports to me, it's not that Americans suddenly stopped wanting homes. The takeaway is that affordability has become the biggest issue in housing, and builders aren't pulling back because housing isn't needed. They're pulling back because too many buyers are struggling to make the numbers work. And until rates come down, incomes rise, or prices adjust even further, I think we're going to start seeing more and more builders slow down construction. And we're going to see more and more buyers search for value in the existing home market. If you've been listening to past shows, what have you noticed? Pending home sales up, existing home sales up. It's the builders that are struggling to sell new construction homes, and they price them higher than existing homes. And so they're, again, it's just a matter of, can a buyer afford it? Can they even get approved for the loan? So it's going to mean that more people are choosing the fixer-upper instead of the brand new home. And that could become one of the biggest housing trends for potentially the next year or more.